RMU, and welcome to another episode of Campus Stories. I'm your host, Victoria Lomax, and on today's show, we have two members from RMU Radio joining us. Ben Cole, who is the RMU Radio Graduate Assistant, and later in the show, we will be talking to one of the producers of two Saudi RMU shows, Wafi Al Ghanem. But first, Ben Cole. So hi, Ben, and thank you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So you are the newly appointed RMU Radio Graduate Assistant.
Yes.
How did you initially get involved with radio?
Well, I've always really enjoyed radio. I like how it sounds. I like that it's potable. I love that you can describe a lot of things with it very, very well. It actually started with me back whenever I was 4 years old. I had a little Fisher-Price tape recorder, and I would go around to all the neighborhood kids and interview them and interview my grandparents and my family members, and from there it really blossomed. It was one thing that I've always just had a real big niche for. I've always been a sucker for radio. I've always really enjoyed being a part of it, and now I have a really decent career in it, so I'm pretty happy.
You mentioned that this started for you early on in your career. Were there any radio shows that inspired you?
No radio shows specifically, but one talent that I always really liked was Bob Studebaker. He had a jazz show back whenever I was younger, and he's still really active in the Pittsburgh radio community. I just really liked his voice. I really liked the programming that he had, and the music was really great. And with Pirates, I really like what Bob Walk and Greg Brown bring it as well. There's times if it's on TV, I won't turn on the TV. I'll just go to my radio and just listen through there.
So besides being the newly appointed RMU Radio Graduate Assistant, you are also simply new to RMU. I mean, you got your undergrad degree at Point Park.
Yes.
What was it like transitioning from Point Park to RMU?
Well, transitioning from Point Park to RMU, for me was relatively easy. I was pretty active in Point Park's campus radio station, and making the switch over to RMU Radio was pretty good. I've tried to bring some elements over to RMU Radio, trying to get a little bit more active on campus. You know, there's still a couple growing pains with that, but we're working through that with that. And with the IBS conference coming up, that's one big thing that Point Park was always very active in going every year. And I'm really happy to say that this is the first year that RMU Radio is actually going to the IBS conference in New York, and we're really happy that while this is our first time going, this is also the first time that we're actually nominated for awards.
So taking on a grad assistant job can be intimidating. Mm-hmm. Did you have any concerns before agreeing to take the job?
I didn't have any big hesitations. My concern was just the workload with it. Not only am I taking on a new job with working in the radio station, but I'm also juggling my coursework. I'm actually a student, as well as being the grad assistant, and then I have a regular job, and then I have a family at home. So juggling all those things is a little hard at times, but overall it's relatively manageable.
Well, working with RMU Radio, are there any new shows that you would like to see produced?
There's nothing specific that I really want. My goal is just to have pretty much every time slot filled with one thing or another, if it's news or if it's sports talk or if it's music or just one thing or another that it's something that we can plug in and just be reflective of the RMU radio community, or the RMU community rather. I just want that to just come through with the radio station.
So then, what would you say is your favorite part about working in radio?
It's always changing. That's one really big thing that I really like. The one great aspect that I love about RMU Radio is we don't have an actual frequency. I love the fact that it's online, and that's one great part of radio is because of the changing factor. It is moving to online, so we're already ahead of the game of a lot of college radio stations. And one thing that we are implementing more of is podcasting. So there might be some shows on podcast form that might not be on RMUradio.com, but that's one great thing that we are going to supplement with that.
So as the new grad assistant, what are you working towards doing with the RMU Radio?
I just wanted to grow. One thing that I'm really happy that we were able to accomplish in the fall was we had a record number of shows. We shattered everything. The next big thing is I want to be a little bit more active on campus. We have a lot of great activities that are coming up this spring. We've got a soccer tournament that we're going to be rolling out registration teams for. And in the coming months, we're also going to have a spring show as well. Can't give anything away with that just yet, but it's one thing that we're really happy that we're going to have for the RMU community.
Would you say that the students involved with RMU Radio are really eager and as radio hungry as you were when you were younger?
They're getting hungry. they're getting hungrier. I've given them a little bit, and they're coming back for a lot more. And there's a lot of great students here, and the one thing that I'm really excited about is it's constantly changing.
And before we take it to commercial break, are there any outside of the college realm, would you like to pursue anything further in radio?
Well, I already do have a career in radio. I'd like to at least maintain that. While the radio scheme is changing from terrestrial to online, a lot of places are condensing, so that leaves less jobs available. My hope is just to still stay gainfully employed in the radio community. That's all that I want.
And thank you. And coming up after the break, we will have more with Ben Cole, so stick around.
These boys are my heroes. They come every week to spend time with my children.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
They can teach them something no one else can.
Wisconsin.
They're role models to the children, and homework comes way before sports. Their grades have improved, and their lives are just a bit richer.
Okay.
What they do for my kids is truly wonderful.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
I call them my lifeline.
People don't realize how quickly you can end up on the street. One thing happens in your life, medical bills you can't pay, you lose your job, and that's it.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
We went to DC to work with the homeless. They sell a newspaper called Street Sense. Thought I'd help.
But if you want to give more, you can.
This person came up to me and said, "Get a job." And for 2 hours, I felt what it was like to be homeless.
Good morning. $1 help.
Some of the other students said, "How can we change this?" And I said, "Sometimes you can't change the world, but you may be able to change one person's world." My dream? Open a psych clinic for people on the street.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
Welcome back to Campus Stories. As mentioned before the break, RMU Radio graduate assistant Ben Cole is currently nominated for a radio interview he did for RMU Radio. Before we play a clip from your interview, can you tell us a little bit about the premise of what your interview was about?
I interviewed Scott Erlbacher, who holds a Greek life position in student life. And the reason why I interviewed him was there was a tragedy that happened down at West Virginia University in their Greek life. There was a student that passed away, and it was during one of their rushes and one of their hazings. And one thing I wanted to ask Scott was if this situation happened on the campus of Robert Morris, what would be done? What steps would be in place to alleviate any stress, or try to ready this, and also even try to prevent it. So that's what we talked about, and it was really nice. It was very informative, and I'm really excited and I'm really proud of that interview, and for the fact that it's recognized by the IBS. That really says that for Scott as well, about how strong and how passionate he is about Greek life at Robert Morris.
Thank you, and we will now take a listen to the clip.
With the situation that happened down at WVU with the student passing away, did they handle the situation correctly? immediately suspending all of Greek life?
Based on what I know, I think they did. There's a couple small bits of information have come out since then that make me wonder what happened. It's been released by the National Fraternity that the chapter had been suspended in October, and so there's several weeks there where the chapter should not have been operating that led to this. That this should never have happened because the chapter should have been shut down. Now, I don't know what the university knew and what steps were taken from the national headquarters of the fraternity. It seems like the university did what they felt was best. They have a new president there who one of his challenges has been to change the reputation of the school to focus more on the academic.
And that, as you just heard, was a clip from Ben Cole's interview with Scott Ehrbacher. And Ben, you mentioned IBS. Could you tell us what that means and what it is?
IBS stands for Intercollegiate Broadcasting Systems, and the conference that we're going to in March is an umbrella of a lot of college radio stations, and there's a couple of high school stations as well. The one really nice thing that they do with the conference is they not only bring everybody together, but we're able to talk shop about our station, what's great about ours, what's great about yours, trade a couple different ideas, and there's also some professionals that are on the conference as well from the field and different aspects, and there's Q&As, there's different panel discussions, and it's really nice to have that one-on-one with professionals. And for the nice thing with a lot of students, that could possibly lead to internships and possible career as well with them.
And so now the situation that happened on the West Virginia campus was a very sensitive topic. Mm-hmm. How did you approach that topic when you interviewed Scott Ehrbacher?
Well, I went in just with a very open mind. I did not participate in Greek life at Point Park. We didn't have a Greek life community. So I just looked at it from just the what ifs. What if that student was on our campus? What steps would be taken? I asked Scott a lot of times, could this have been prevented? And the reason why I really wanted to talk to Scott about this was just because of his background as well. He was involved with Penn State's Greek life, Miami of Ohio's Greek life. So, and Miami of Ohio is a very decorated Greek life. It's one of the oldest in the country. And now with him coming to Robert Morris, I really wanted to see what his perspective was, and he was very insightful and very very forthcoming with a lot of information in that interview.
Well, Ben, I'd like to thank you for your time on the show today, and good luck with your nomination.
Thank you.
And coming up next after the break, I will be talking to one of the producers of RMU's Saudi radio show, Wafi Al Ghanem. So stick around, Campus Stories. We'll be right back.
Is a completely different world. We were there to bring nursing care to some desperate people.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
The very first person that I met was David. Kept saying, "You have to come to my house and watch me play my trumpet." You could tell from the look on his face that it was just his most prized possession. I get back home. A few weeks later, I got a message that a gang had broken into his house at night and they stole it, which was his life. So next trip back, we gave him a new one. The look on his face was just complete disbelief. He just absolutely couldn't believe it. And to be able to do something like that is one of the best moments of my life. He said he'd never forget us.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
These boys are my heroes. They come every week to spend time with my children.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
They can teach them something no one else can.
Wisconsin.
They're role models to the children, and homework comes way before sports. Their grades have improved, and their lives are just a bit richer.
Okay.
What they do for my kids is truly wonderful.
change someone's life, it changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
I call them my lifeline.
Welcome back to Campus Stories, and joining me right now is Wafi Al-Ghanem, who is a producer for 2 RMU Radio Saudi shows. Welcome, Wafi. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for.
So, jumping right into things, what made you want to produce a Saudi show for RMU Radio?
Well, we started in an English-Arabic show, which is EOC, Exchange of Cultures. Our goal was to give more of the Arabian culture for students or for whoever listening to the radio who have misconceptions about it. So we started to talk about different countries and how it's affected, starting from Saudi, of course, through the Gulf Peninsula or GCC countries. And that's the first part of our show. And then the second part that we hopefully going to start this semester, we're going to continue on and go through the other Arabian countries.
And like our previous guest, Ben Cole, your show is also up for a nomination.
Yes.
And for our TV viewer audience out there, we have a clip to play.
تعليق
والله تعليق
تعليق تعليق
تعليقات
مع ياسر كنتوها هو في الغانم
تعليق.
اوكي، احنا طبعا عندنا سؤال نسال الشباب، او كان في سؤال يطرح: هل تعتقد او في اعتقادك الشخصي ان المرأة افضل على صنع الكوميديا ام الرجل؟
ما في شيء يحدد هذا الموضوع، يعني الكوميديا تبقى كوميديا هي سواء كانت على الرجل او المرأة، يعني ما في. بس هو احنا اللي صاير عندنا يعني اغلب الاعمال بشكلها العام يعني هم الرجال هم متسيدين هذا الموضوع، يعني هذا ليس قصورا في المرأة يعني.
And what you just heard was a clip from an RMU Radio nomination. So what was it like when you heard about your nomination?
Well, actually, when I saw Ben was posting the nomination that we got nominated on Facebook, I was in the airport coming back here. So I was like, I don't know if it's like I want to jump or not, because we're going to boarding now. So it was a bit different. And I was really excited because I was waiting for it a whole break that we got, and I thought that we not nominated because I didn't hear anything about it. And like at the last day, it's like, oh wow, that's great.
Was this something that you decided to tell your families about? And do they furthermore get a chance to listen to your radio show?
Well, yeah, they did. Actually, the clip that we heard, that was my dad, actually. And we were interviewing him because he's a well-known TV director back home. And we were discussing comedy and how that people perceive comedy in different ways. So yeah, they did hear a couple of episodes from the show.
Currently, the RMU community is growing in its diversity. What is it like for you to be able to share with the community your culture?
Well, it's nice to change, let's say, the misconceptions that they have. Like when you tell people, when people ask me, where are you from? I tell them from Saudi. And the first thing that comes to mind is that, oh, you came from a tent or from a desert or something. While on the other hand, it's a big, wherever I come from, it's a big city, and it's different, totally different than what they have. So changing the perspectives is part of our goal in studying here, or even doing the radio itself.
So far, is the entire Saudi population at RMU involved with the radio show?
In RMU and in the States, actually, we got a lot of calls from California, from New York, from Seattle, and from DC, and all around. So we got a lot of feedback from different students around the States.
And do you have any shows in mind coming up in the next few weeks?
Well, we are preparing for two. We already what we did last semester was 3 shows. One was Ta'liq, which is comment, and translation that we were nominated for. The other two was at the same timing. That week, 1 week we do the first one, the other week we do the second one. And they were talking about, one of them is about the culture, the other one we just normal interviews. The new shows that we're planning on, and we're preparing for, hopefully we do it. One is an all-girls show, which is the two girls gonna talk about different subjects that relates to women in general. And the other show is opposite genders, or it's like it will be me hosting and my wife. So we're gonna talk about different issues and different opinions from, like, from different genders.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then finally, before we wrap up, would you say that RMU Radio is a hobby for you, or something that you would eventually like to pursue?
Well, you never know, because I've been working like back home as a TV director, and I've been working as an actor, and I did direct a radio like promotional series with 5 episodes. So going into radio, it's a possibility. You never know.
Okay, thank you. And coming up after the break, we will have more with Wafi, so stay tuned.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you. Bobby? Susie? Don't worry, that's just the power of the art!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
You ever think about buying a bigger place?
Just waiting for a visit from the credit fairy.
There is no credit fairy.
How else will I get a better credit score?
Look, you keep your credit card balances low and only open a new card if you really need it.
No fairy?
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
Yes, ready, ready.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to Campus Stories, and still joining me is Wafi Algano. So in our last block, we spoke about enlightening the RMU community about your culture. But coming to America, did you experience a culture shock?
No, I'm not. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Did I get that thing or not? Since I've been living out of Saudi off and on for whatever I studied. I studied in Bahrain. I studied in Jordan, and it's not a big of a change for me, like staying here. The only difference is living in a community that speaks only English, they don't understand any other language. I mean, at least for the normal communication, they don't get any other language. That was a big difference, mainly. But other things I didn't feel that much of a shock.
So would you say that regarding the language, do you usually speak your language more often, or since you're in America, is it English?
Well, not really, because for me, and also my wife as well, she's been studying English her whole life, so her Arabic and English are like, she uses more English than Arabic, and same thing with me. So It's again, it's not. It's different to communicate with others. I mean, when you go to the grocery store or something, they usually talk in Arabic. So now in English totally. That's when I first came here was the first different thing. I mean, it's strange.
Well, I know you said that you are uncertain if you really experienced the culture shock, but were there any American customs that were difficult to get used to?
Well, the thing that we generally see and get we feel it's strange for us, because the Arabian culture mostly, or the Arabian culture in general, they're mostly family oriented. So when we came here, or even everyone who I ever met coming from Saudi, you have the same thing. That it's strange for them that they see that they're not really in touch with their families or distant families, and which is something that we're not used to. So family, we are family oriented basically. That's the strongest thing, or the highlight that we see when I first came here.
Of all the places that you traveled to with your studies, did you have a favorite?
Well, it's a different experience. That's the thing. Back when I first had my first bachelor degree, it was in Bahrain. I met my wife there, so that's a different experience.
That's a plus.
Yeah. And Jordan was a totally different experience, because I was studying film and TV, which is something that I love. Here, it's different between, I started with hospitality and tourism, and I changed to TV production. So it's a mixed thing. For me, every experience has its benefits. So I don't favor one or another, because without the first one, I wouldn't get here. Without the second one, I wouldn't be here. So,
going back to your Army radio show, in English it translates to evening coffee.
Yeah, that's the second one. Yeah.
How did you come up with the name?
Well, the show itself, it's a chit-chat show. I mean, it's just as we say, it's an evening coffee, or something that you sit with the guests and talk normally, and it's not a formal chit-chat or formal talk. So that's what we came up with. It's like an evening coffee, something easy, something light. It's not too long. It's an hour show. So with the breaks and everything, it gets shorter. So that's how we came up with the story, with the name itself.
And was it important for you? Like, what do you mostly go by, the English translation or Arabic?
No, in the Arabic translation, because it's an Arabic show. The only English show that we have, which is what we first started with, which is EOC, Exchange of Culture, that was an English-Arabic show. The rest of them is totally in Arabic. So, yeah, we go with more with Arabic thing.
And for anyone who would like to hear your show, when does it air on RMU Radio?
For this semester, we changed a bit of the timings, because we added 2 more shows to ours. So basically, we're gonna have the literal translation. Hopefully, they didn't settle yet, but the literal translation is only girls, and that would be on Monday from 2 or 1:30 to 2:30. The second show will be the evening coffee. No, me and her, which will be on Wednesday, again from 1 to 2, and evening coffee would be on Thursday from 2 to 4, and Friday would be Ta'liq, which is comment, would be from till now we didn't settle on the timing, but mostly will be 1 to 5 or something, a 2-3 hour show.
Well, thank you, Wafi, for coming on the show today. And that concludes Campus Stories. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back next week.